When you are traveling with women, they tend to go to the bathroom very often. Physiologically speaking, their bladders are the size of gnats, so, you know, it's just understandable that every 30 seconds you should find a bathroom. Well, this was loads of fun traveling around in Africa with a bunch of ladies in the back. One of the ladies was Liz, my lovely wife, and it was great. Lots of fun going around, having adventures, places. And, well, Lewis was driving this van along with, let's see, there was me and Bassie and Lewis, and then some ladies in the back, fellow volunteers of Mercy Ships. And of course, at one point, we were driving through the dead of the night, and then the ladies were like, hey, we need to go pee. I'm like, okay. We'll try to find a nice little pull-off somewhere so you can just dart into the bushes. Because it was much too late to go knocking on people's doors and say, hey, surprise, bunch of white people here, wondering if we could use your bathroom, you know, maybe see if there's a Starbucks open around here. There were no chain restaurants in all of Sierra Leone. However, I do remember seeing like a McDonald's, but it was something like Muhammad McDonald. It even had the golden arches. I was like, hey, Muhammad McDonald. Okay. He was Ronald McDonald's little brother who thought he could go off in Africa and make the restaurants work there. He didn't succeed. Yeah. So there we were, tootling along in the dead of the night. And we finally found a little pull-off because, you know, after all, we weren't going to stop on the road and, you know, what? Stop your car in the middle of the road and just have the ladies hop out? That's ridiculous. Who would do that in Africa? Well, we found a nice little pull-off. We darted in, sort of pulled forward a little bit so that traffic behind us wouldn't slam into us. No need to pull dirt clods out and put it on the road. That's pretty cool. By the way, all of these references are to the previous story where we almost died. Not meaning to over-dramatize things. Well, this pull-off was very convenient because it was obviously a very safe place. Our headlights sort of lit up this long, flat building, and you could sort of see a clearing and some goalie posts. We're like, wow, obviously this is a schoolyard, and this is a school. And nobody's here, of course, but, you know, should be relatively safe. It's not like we're pulling into, you know, the red light district where there's kind of some seedy folks here. All right, this is cool. All right, so we turned off the car, left the lights on, of course, so that when the ladies left, they could find their way back. Well, as the ladies got out of the vehicle, all with their feathers all ruffled and clucking to each other, that, you know, we should have stopped earlier. I have to go pee. Well, they got out, and they didn't go far from the vehicle. You could kind of tell that they were sort of still on the road over there, but they were smart. They didn't want to go into the bush. And that was actually probably a great God thing that they didn't go very far, because as we were sitting there, we being the guys, the lights halfway lit up this building, and it also illuminated some of the jungle. And we suddenly saw a figure jump up from the bushes. Like, oh, okay, I guess there are people out here, even though it doesn't look like a thriving community with lots of neighborhoods. But okay. And it was a man. And this man had a very large-looking machete. In the Creole dialect, they call it a cutlass. Okay, all right. This is kind of weird. Lewis, who was in the driver's seat, he turned to Bassie, our local African friend who knew all about the culture. Very, very sweet guy. Still good friends with him. And Lewis said, Bassie, what is that man doing out here in the middle of the night, out in the middle of nowhere, with a machete? And Bassie, with sort of a happy countenance, he said, in his own matter-of-fact way, "Well, he is a madman." Lewis and I looked at each other. We looked at Bassie, and I sort of ventured, "Should we warn the ladies?" And Bassie, "I suppose." This is terrifying! We ended up not saying anything because a few seconds later they did kind of all pile into the van, still kind of with their feathers all ruffled. And we were like, "Hey, did you see anybody out there?" And they were like, "No, should we?" And we were like, no, it's all good, it's great, just a madman out there with a weapon." So from then on, whenever we went traveling around, I had my own machete that I purchased there in Freetown. A really cool weapon, very neat. Look up my other video on how I described their weapons there. They didn't have any sort of guns because they just had a giant civil war, and they sort of took away all their AK-47s. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing that now the corrupt military had all the weaponry, I won't go into that, but hey, I was happy with my machete, and I sort of hid it under the floor mats of the van, and I always had it ready in case we came across a madman.